Today, within our community, there's a great desire to bring individuals and entire communities together to heal old wounds and to make firm commitments to building a better future. The Let Freedom Ring Chimes Project can do exactly that.
So, Ms. Goldman, tell me about this Chimes Project. I know you're really excited about it. We're getting ready to do the unveiling. Why is this Chimes Project so important to you, so important to Lincolnville?
I think it is important to Compassionate St. Augustine, my organization. It's important to Lincolnville. It's important to the African American storyline and the civil rights storyline in St. Augustine. And then when you look at St. Augustine as the oldest continuously occupied city in the United States, what is now the United States, basically there's a role that this plays for our national understanding of what freedom, democracy, human rights, compassion, civility, and tolerance really stand for, not just as words, not just as intellectual concepts, but what imaginatively it can stand for in terms of how the arts as a whole generate conversations, and public art in particular does that. What really excites me about the project most, I think, is that Compassionate St. Augustine is known for its work with underserved and vulnerable children. We did our first public art project for the 450th anniversary of the city of St. Augustine, and we had 25 obelisk like that one that were all decorated by artists and interpreted by artists throughout the city. One of them is actually going to be on the site of this project, and that one stood for the Emancipation Proclamation and when it was read here. So my excitement extends to the fact that on the bench, the marble bench that's part of this project, artist Joe Siegel incorporated tiles, granite tiles, that had designs on them that were done by children from the Webster School, which is a Title I school, the Boys and Girls Club, and then incarcerated youth who were here in our town. Well, there for me lies a real piece of the legacy. The children are not only going to see them now, but they had a curriculum about civil rights and Lincolnville and public art and all of that. And what we're going to be doing to carry this forward is in Florida, all of the fourth grade students take Florida history as one of their classes. Thousands upon thousands of children from all over the state and our county come on school field trips to St. Augustine every year. Unfortunately, none of those children extend their trip, for the most part, into Lincolnville. I mean, just very, very few. We're going to be working with a team of experts to develop a curriculum that's civil rights and African American storyline in St. Augustine based. And it's going to be a very experiential multimedia curriculum. And once we get the school district approval and have all of our ducks in a row, we then plan to carry it forth so that it becomes one of the packages, the tour packages that the teachers can consider when they bring children here on their field trips. It'll incorporate the museum and tie it directly to the Chimes Project, and then in between it'll have other pieces of the history, a walking tour of Lincolnville and all of the markers that are here that take into account historical and civil rights events. Years and years from now, it's going to echo, and the experience itself is going to echo. And in that way, the history that changes through things like gentrification and growth and all of those things remains alive, and new generations have the opportunity to experience it so it doesn't get lost.
My name is Cash McVeigh, and I'm the president of the Lincolnville Community Garden and also a member of the Keep Riberia Point Green. And very proud of what has happened down at Robert B. Hayling Freedom Park with the Let Freedom Ring Chimes Project. We wanted a reuse theme to be used throughout different things in the park. For instance, the park was a former landfill, so it's being reused as a passive park now, and the city demolished the old temporary Bridge Alliance that was needed while they were building the new Bridge Alliance. They barged it over to the point, broke it up into riprap, and used that material to form a protective barrier around the whole park. So that was a great reuse of materials for a specific purpose. Well, this Let Freedom Ring's Chime project, the artist Joe Siegel is using marble that was repurposed, or the building was demolished. It was a bank in Jacksonville, Florida, downtown Jacksonville, Florida. The marble is now being repurposed into an art installation in the form of a sitting bench for kids, adults, park goers for years to come to enjoy. So the repurposed theme is alive and well down there, and that's something that the community was fully in support of, and so happy that this project is keeping in spirit with that concept.
My name is Armando Freeman. I'm the Executive Director for St. John's Youth Academy. This project meant a lot for me and for St. John's Youth Academy. It's an honor to be involved with such a project. On a small scale, it allows us to give something back to the community. In some cases, some of the youth have taken something from the community, so it's for them, they get a chance to be a part of something great. My mantra is to whom much is given, much is required. We've been given a great responsibility, so we want to give something back on a small scale to those individuals who did a lot for freedom that we have today. So what does this project mean? Why was it important for you to participate in it? Because you had a choice, right? You didn't have to participate in it, so why was it important for you?
Yes, sir. Well, for me personally, like being incarcerated, you feel like you don't have a voice. And at the age I am, like it's a milestone to achieve something that further on centuries, like people still gonna be able to look at it. And I drew how I was feeling. I just achieved a milestone in life. I'm young, and now I spoke to the world through a picture. A picture says 1,000 words, and I drew how I was feeling, and now it's gonna be here forever. That's a blessing.
My name is Alexius Ferguson. I'm the Community Partnership School Director at the Webster School.
When Ms. Wiles and Ms. Goldman presented the idea of the Chimes Project and the students partnering in the effort of the Legacy Project, we thought it was a good idea. I presented to the students on Let Freedom Ring and what it means to me in my life. The kids had a little trouble coming up with the ideas of what they would draw initially, but after a while they came up with some great ideas.
I was born and raised here in St. Augustine, Florida. I also attended the Webster School. Now I'm back in an official capacity serving at the Webster School as a community school director. That's what Let Freedom Ring means to me.
It's important that we document our history. This Let Freedom Ring Chimes Project will document a great point in our history.
My name is Joe Siegel. I'm a sculptor. I'm making a large marble bench for this project, and I call it Toward, which is a reference to a quote from Martin Luther King that says, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice." That's really the way I feel about civil rights in this country. It's a work in progress. It's something we haven't arrived at yet, but hopefully we're heading in the right direction. Compassionate St. Augustine wanted something that was collaborative and inclusive. Keep Riberia Point Green wanted something that would work with the beauty of the site, which is very raw and natural. Both of them wanted something that would be a gathering place and would complement these chimes. That's how I came up with the idea of doing a bench with this marble in a very raw, natural state, and including tiles designed by kids from primarily the African American community to see how they're feeling about issues like civil rights, freedom, democracy. And I think it's going to be an interesting project because it's not just my vision. I have the chimes and I have the tiles of the young people, and I think that makes it a much more engaging experience for people. My hope for this project is it creates an environment for people to contemplate different things. The beauty of the site, the nature, the situation of civil rights. When you see this arc from far away, it's going to appear like a perfect white glowing form. And then when you get closer to it, you see that it's rough, it's not resolved. It is a work in progress. There's things that still need to be resolved. I hope that gets people thinking about things. My thought is that art shouldn't answer all the questions for people. It should leave them with questions, let them draw their own conclusions. I hope people will look at all the different interpretations that you see in the tiles and see how there's so many different perspectives on one theme. I hope that it's a place that is peaceful and thought-provoking at the same time.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream. One day, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, We will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day. This will be the day when all of God's children be able to sing with new meaning, my country tears of thee. Sweet land of liberty of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. When we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Let us realize that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice.